Hello everybody and welcome to the Daily Review, episode number 264 for Saturday, December 12th, 2009.
Here comes the sadness that I miss so much.
How's it going, everybody? I think it's interesting to note that about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, on December 19th, 2008, I recorded episode number 53 of the Daily Review for Clint Eastwood's film Gran Torino, and it is by far my most hated-on video review that I've recorded. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I believe I gave it a 3 out of 5. I've gotten tons of negative comments on it, calling me stupid and idiot, other hurtful names that I'm not going to display right now, but you can check that out for yourself. And almost a year has passed, and Clint Eastwood has put out yet another film called Invictus. Invictus is directed by Clint Eastwood, as I said, and it stars Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon. And Invictus is the story about Nelson Mandela, played by Morgan Freeman, in the quote-unquote role he was born to play. Don't buy that. He plays Nelson Mandela. He gets released from prison. He becomes the president. There's a lot of racial turmoil in his country in South Africa. And so he decides to get behind this rugby team where Francois, played by Matt Damon, is on this rugby team, consisting mostly of whites. There's one black guy on the team. And he decides to get behind that and try to unite his nation through rugby and through them winning the World Cup. I'm going to say right off the bat, and I know it's a terrible thing to say in the world of film, but I honestly think that for the most part, very few exceptions, Clint Eastwood is an overrated director, I think. I think that most of his movies are pretty good, but the amount of praise that I see a lot of his films getting as far as like masterpiece, beyond powerful, I don't buy it. I thought Mystic River was one of the films that got like the most praise I've ever seen recently of his films, and I thought it was good. I thought it was a pretty solid film, but I didn't think it was by any means a masterpiece. I think Letters from Iwo Jima is probably my favorite of his that I've seen recently. I have not seen Unforgiven, so I'm not judging that. I've heard that's amazing, but I have yet to see it. But for me, Invictus really falls flat in almost every aspect of the film. I mean, it's not really a biopic because it doesn't really delve into Nelson Mandela's life, but it for me fails on that level. It fails in a sports film type of level about rugby, and the whole humanity connection and we're all one, it doesn't really work like that either for me. I was surprised by how cheesy a lot of the dialogue is in this film. I think there is a lot of hit you over the head messages about racism and how we're all one. There's literally a moment in the film where Nelson Mandela is on a talk show, and it's a very emotional moment, and you can see tears welling up in Morgan Freeman's eyes, and it immediately cuts to the shot of a helicopter where they're playing the song Colorblind, aptly titled, and it sounds like a pop song. It seems like a weird song cue that they would have in like 2012 or something like that, where Adam Lambert's Time for Miracles just plays over the credits. It seems very strange and very out of left field, and it really took me out of the film. I do think that the performances are pretty good. I mean, you have Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon. I don't think those are two actors that you really need to worry about seeing and saying, hey, those guys are not going to give good performances. They do. They give fine performances. I don't think they're anything great. I mean, Morgan Freeman looks exactly like Nelson Mandela, so that's definitely helping the cause. And I mean, Matt Damon has the South African accent, which is also, fairly spot on. And I mean, they're great actors. And you have Clint Eastwood at the helm of this film, and I just expect so much more out of it. There's the final scene of this film, or the final, 15-20 minutes. It boils down to the big rugby match for the World Cup, and I feel like everything about it is shot with no style and no flair. And at that point in the film, the audience is supposed to be so engaged in what's going on and just really rooting for the team to win and all this stuff. And I was like bored sitting in my seat watching this final game. And I think that stems from a few problems. One of them being, and maybe I'm just a stupid American for thinking this, but rugby is not a sport that is played in America, or one that is popular in America, I should say. And so I don't really know the rules of rugby. I don't really know how it happens. I know you can pass to the side or behind you. That's basically all I know. So when the game goes on, there's no explanation to me, so I'm like just kind of watching it. Oh, the guy's kicking the ball now they're passing it. Not too interesting. There gets to be the big slow motion sequences towards the end when it's like the really, like you're supposed to be edge of your seat, like, oh, what's going to happen? Not interesting at all. There's a moment, I believe, when one of the characters who doesn't understand rugby talks to this guy and he says, oh, what does that mean? And the guy says, oh, it's extra time. They get 20 minutes. And he's like, oh, I don't know if I could take that much more. That's exactly how I felt about Invictus. I think there's good performances. I think the direction is fairly spot on. I mean, it's Clint Eastwood as a director, and I think even though he is, in my opinion, overrated, I do think he's a good director. I just don't think his movies are fabulous. I was quite just not really taken aback by anything in Invictus, and I really wish that I had liked it a lot more than I did. I give Invictus a 2.5 out of 5. Keep those hate comments coming because I'm sure they're going to happen. I'm just waiting for them. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with another one for you.